Hey there. Today, we're going to peel back the label on pretty much every single product you own to uncover this hidden network that brought it to you. What are we talking about? The supply chain. It's kind of like the invisible engine of our global economy. Okay, let's get into it.
So, just for a second, think about the phone in your pocket, or maybe the one sitting on your desk right now. Have you ever really, truly considered its origin story? I don't just mean the company that designed it, but the absolutely incredible global journey it took to get into your hands. Well, that journey, that is what we call a supply chain. And listen, it's not just one thing, it is the entire network. I mean, every single step, right from the moment raw materials are pulled out of the ground to the factory floor, all the way to that moment you tap buy now. I just love this description. It's not some boring process, it's a global dance. It just fits, right? It's this beautifully complex, coordinated system that basically makes our modern lives possible. So, how does this dance actually work? To really get a handle on this, we're going to follow the secret journey of a single familiar product, a smartphone. Trust me, this story is going to reveal just how interconnected our world really is. You know, every great story has its main characters, and the story of our smartphone is no different. There are really four main players, or you could call them components, that make this entire journey happen. So who are they? First, we've got the suppliers, then the manufacturers, after them, the distributors and retailers, and finally, the customers. Yep, that's you and me. Let's break down what each one does, starting right at the very beginning. Okay, first up, the suppliers. The easiest way to think about them is as the ones who gather all the ingredients for a recipe. They're the ones sourcing the fundamental building blocks from the earth. This is the true starting point of, well, everything. And here's where it gets wild. Just look at the sheer global scale of this. The lithium for your phone's battery, it might come all the way from South America. The aluminum for its sleek body, that could be from Australia. And the silicon that acts as its powerful brain is refined from a rock called quartzite. Even the screen literally starts as simple sand. It's a massive worldwide effort before a single component is even made. So now we have all these raw materials. Next up are the manufacturers. I kind of like to call them the transformers because they perform what is basically a kind of industrial magic, taking these heaps of rock, metal, and sand from all over the globe and turning them into the intricate device we all know. Now, this usually happens in two main phases. First, you've got these highly specialized factories creating the individual high-tech parts, the camera lens, the processor, the memory chips. Then, all those pieces get sent to these massive assembly plants where skilled technicians and advanced robots meticulously piece together hundreds of different components into one single finished smartphone. So, we have a finished phone. Great. But it's probably sitting in a factory thousands of miles away. How does it cross an entire planet to get to us? Well, that is the job of our third player, the distributors and retailers. You can think of them as the connectors who build the bridge from the factory floor all the way to your front door. This stage is all about logistics. The phones get packed up and shipped across the world on these giant container ships and cargo planes. They land in huge regional warehouses, get moved onto trucks, and then get sent out to the physical and digital storefronts, places like Best Buy or Amazon, where they just wait for us to buy them. And this brings us to the final, and you could argue the most important, player in the whole chain, the customer. The entire, massive, planet-spanning process we just described exists for one reason and one reason only, to get that product into your hands. But here's the thing that's so crucial. Our role doesn't just end with the purchase. When we buy a phone, we're sending a powerful signal that drives the whole chain. But it's more than that. Our feedback, our online reviews, even our returns, that's all essential data that flows all the way back to the manufacturer, and it actually influences the design of the next smartphone. So you see, the chain is really a circle. So it's pretty clear how complex this is. You've got materials from everywhere, factories in one place, and customers all over the world. So how on earth is this global dance coordinated? That's where something called supply chain management comes in. Let's use a clothing retailer to make this simple. Management functions include things like demand planning, basically trying to predict how many shirts people will want. There's sourcing, finding and buying the right fabrics. Inventory management, which is just tracking every single item in the warehouses, and logistics, getting those shirts from the factory to the stores. And every single one of these is a balancing act. You're always trying to predict the future while reacting to today. You need enough stock, but not too much. It's a constant strategic puzzle. Now, this system is an absolute marvel of efficiency when it works, but it's also incredibly fragile. I mean, think of it like a finely tuned machine where just one loose screw can bring the whole thing grinding to a halt. So what happens when that chain breaks? And, the bigger the chain, the more points of failure there are. A global car manufacturer has a supply chain that's just mind-bogglingly complex. Compare that to a local farm supplying a restaurant, super simple. But here's the key. No matter the scale, both of them are vulnerable to disruption. So we've seen that these intricate systems are vulnerable. And when they fail, the result can range from a minor inconvenience, like your package being a day late, to a full-on global crisis, where essential goods suddenly become impossible to find. And this really gets to the biggest challenges that supply chains face today. You've got sudden spikes or drops in demand that can throw everything off. We've all seen how pandemics or natural disasters can shut down suppliers overnight. And on top of all that, there's growing pressure from us and from governments for these chains to be a lot more sustainable and ethical. All of these challenges are forcing a major rethink. So what does the future of getting stuff actually look like? How are companies adapting to this new reality? Well, because of those challenges, the new key word in the industry isn't speed or cost. It's resilience. And supply chain resilience is all about building a system that can take a punch. It's the ability to withstand a major shock and recover quickly, maybe by having a backup supplier or an alternative shipping route already planned out. And this really is the crucial point for modern businesses. For decades, the goal was just to be as lean and as cheap as possible. But now, it's no longer just about being efficient, it's about being robust enough to survive. You just can't let a single point of failure bring down the entire global operation. So the next time you pick up your phone, think about that incredible hidden journey it took. And as our world gets faster, more connected, and a lot more unpredictable, it leaves us with a pretty fascinating question. How will the journey of all our products have to adapt just to survive?